Good morning. Today we are going to study and understand the process of artificial selection. So, as we said before that we have natural selection, which means that the characteristics that offer an advantage will most likely pass on to offspring. And this process depends upon the natural environment. And the second selection is an artificial selection. The first thing that you have to know that the main idea for using the artificial selection is to make organisms useful to humans. So, in artificial selection, the natural environment is not the only agent of selection. Also, humans choose the characteristics that they want to improve the plants or animals. So here we can use the characteristics, okay, that we want to improve it in the plants or in animals. So the definition of artificial selection is the process by which humans use animal breeding and the plant breeding to selectively develop particular phenotype characteristics by choosing which typically animal or plant, males and females, will sexually reproduce and have offspring together. So, artificial selection, for example, if we have very, for example, particular characteristic, and this characteristic is very important, so we can develop this characteristic in plants or in animals by choosing which typically animal or plant, males or females, will sexually reproduce and have offspring together. So the new offspring will have this characteristic. Okay, now here they give us many examples of artificial selection. So let's start with the first example, which is Jersey cattle. Actually, Jersey cattle have been bred to produce milk with a very high cream content. So we have normal Jersey cattle. They don't have been bred to produce milk with a very high cream, so we use some of them to produce milk with a very high cream content. So this is the first example. The second example about domestic dogs. Actually, domestic dogs, all of them are the same species, but we have different uses for them. Some have been bred for appearance, some for hunting, some for aggressive guards. So the same species for different uses. What about the plants? Here we have wheat. Actually, wheat has been bred to so that will, for example, all the stems are the same height. So when they breed the wheat, they make them the same height. What is the function of making wheat the same height? Actually, that will make harvesting process easy. So to make harvesting process easier, we make the stems of wheat have the same height. Okay, another example. Here we have a group of calves. Actually, those calves, two of them are larger than others. Here we have two small and two large. So two are larger than others. Now you have to know that large cattle carry more meat, so are valuable to a butcher. So butcher here means the person whose trade is cutting up and selling the meat in a shop. So here you have to know that large cattle carry more meat, so it's more valuable to a butcher. Now the butcher used those two large animals, okay, to produce a larger offspring. So if the characteristic is inherited, so the next generation may contain individuals that are even bigger. So they use the two large parents to produce larger offspring, and then they can use the large offspring by pair it with one of the large parents, okay, to produce a very large individual. So by making this process again, they will even produce larger animal with more meat. So the purpose here to produce more meat. So larger cattle has more meat. Okay. The last example about artificial selection. Here we have one type of plant. So artificial selection has produced many vegetables from one ancestor species. So for example, here we have a wild mustard. Actually, by select for large leaves, we can make this type of plant, kale. Here by using, for example, small side buds, we can use another type of plant. By select many flowers heads and thick stem, we can make broccoli. Swollen stem, we can make another type of plant. Select for single large bud, we can make cabbage. For a flower head, we can make cauliflower. So by using the same ancestor species, we can make many vegetables. Okay, so this is the artificial selection. By using the same species, we can make different offspring. Now here, in maintaining variation, you have to know that what appears to human as a valuable characteristic might not always be valuable in a natural selection. So for example, if we have for example any characteristic, for humans it's valuable, but sometimes for natural situation it's not valuable. Okay, so not all characteristics that are valuable for humans valuable for natural situation. So we have difference between the valuable between humans and the natural situation or environment. And also here you have to know that plants genes or plant genes actually conserved as seeds, which are easy to store. So seeds, we can store plants by storing their seeds. Okay, what about animals? We can store animals by frozen eggs, sperm, or embryos. So animals' genes may be kept as frozen eggs, sperm, or embryos. So those are the main things that we have to know from maintaining variation. Now, the last thing in this lesson, we have to differentiate between artificial and natural selection. Okay, so here we have three major differences between artificial and natural selection. The first thing, that in artificial selection, humans are the agents of selection, while natural selection depends upon the natural environment. So in artificial, humans are the agents, but in natural, it depends on a natural environment. The second thing, that artificial selection is much quicker than natural selection. For example, if we want to make a new characteristic, we will wait for a long time if we want to take it naturally from any plant. But by using artificial selection, actually it's much quicker than natural. Now the third difference between them, that artificial selection offers no advantage to the animal or plant in its natural environment. So the artificial selection offers advantage only to human, not for natural environment. So here, this artificial selection offers no advantage to the animal or plant in its natural environment. It's only make advantage to human, okay, to make or to take the best characteristics that the humans want. Okay, so those are the main things that you have to know from artificial selection. Study the lesson well, and if you have any question, you can send to me in B12. Good luck.